Hello everyone. Welcome to the final 2023 episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. 2023 was an excellent year for local entertainment. There were plays, art exhibits, concerts, and more. This episode, I'll be talking about what made 2023 such an interesting local year. Plus, I'll be discussing the hits, misses, and surprises of the 2023 box office, which was severely impacted by both the writers' and actors' strike. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is, what was the highest grossing year ever for movies, adjusted for inflation, according to BoxOfficeMojo.com? Now, for the 2023 Year in Review special. Our first artistic point of interest will be Barrington Stage Company. This marked the first year of new artistic director Alan Paul. Paul's first show was the musical Cabaret. This was followed by The Happiest Man on Earth, Tiny Father, Blues for an Alabama Sky, and A New Brain. Hopefully, 2024 will provide for new shows as well. The Berkshire Theater Group also had a busy season. Their shows included RevTour's annual Dead of Winter Jam, Draw the Line, a tribute to Aerosmith, Tapestry, the Carole King Songbook, the Berkshire Mountain Guitar Summit, Young Dubliner, Song and Dance, What the Constitution Means to Me, Photograph 51, Contact, The Smile of Her, plus the holiday shows I discussed last episode. For the first time in quite some years, their annual Christmas Carol play was not held at the actual Colonial Theater in Pittsfield, but rather the Unicorn Theater in Stockbridge. This was so people could see Namkyog and Winter Lights. Mass Mocha had a phenomenal season. Their shows included Acoma, Gin and Florence 2, Armando Guadalupe Cortez on Los Gallos Loran, Ave Sole, Old Man and Sea, Urban Bushwoman, Phony People, Rina Sawahama, Reishi Saleh, Oscar Jerome, plus their usual fresh grass shows and more. The city of Pittsfield also saw themselves in the literary spotlight this year. The murder mystery novel, The House in the Pines, written by Anna Reyes, takes place in Pittsfield. It was selected by actress and book lover Reese Witherspoon for her January 2023 book club. Witherspoon is known for having her books turn into instant bestsellers. And House in the Pines was no exception. It was a New York Times bestseller, and local libraries struggled to keep the books on shelves. These are just a few of the entertainment stories, however. If you are curious about any more 2023 WWHEN stories, make sure to check out RT Wehry's YouTube page. We will shift towards more recent entertainment stories. Our next stop takes us to Mass Mocha for a stand-up show with comedian Zenaib Johnson. Hailed by Variety as a top 10 comic to watch, stand-up comedian, actor, and writer Zenaib Johnson brings her unique point of view, which was shaped growing up as one of 13 siblings in a Muslim family, to Club B10. Zenaib is a regular at the Comedy Central in New York and Improv in Los Angeles, and she will be adding North Adams, Massachusetts to her circuit for the first time. She's made appearances on Late Night with Seth Meyers, HBO's All Deaf Comedy, MTV's Acting Out, and NBC's Last Comic Standing, and had a breakout performance at the Melbourne Comedy Festival. She regularly returns to the Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal, and can currently be seen on the Amazon series Upload and hosting Netflix's 100 Humans. The show is set to premiere on January 13th at 8 p.m. Visit the website shown here for more information. Our next story is of great news for local sports fans. The Mount Greylock girls volleyball team completed a historic season, winning the first state championship in the school's history. Not only is it the first state championship for girls volleyball in Mount Greylock's history, it's also the first time any girls volleyball team from Berkshire County has won a state championship, period. The Mounties finished off a historic perfect season, going 25-0. They beat Bourne High School in the state finals. They are only the fourth Berkshire County school to win a state championship in the bracket sports format established in 2020. They joined the Taconic basketball, Taconic baseball, Mount Greylock baseball, and Wacona boys lacrosse teams. To make it to the championship game, they beat rival school Frontier, which has always been a strong team. In an interview with iBerkshires.com, senior Talia Kaploff stated, quote, "I've been playing since 7th grade, and we've never gotten this far. Every year we get a little farther and farther. And I think it's because I've had the same teammates for 6 years," end quote. In that same interview, junior Kylie Swerin said, quote, "It's just amazing because I feel like I can count on everyone on my team. No matter who I set it to, there's always a shot or a spot. It's a team effort which I really love," end quote. WWHEN congratulates Mount Greylock for their success. Our next story takes us to Stockbridge, to the Norman Rockwell Museum for a new exhibit. Between Worlds, the art and design of Leo Leone is the first major American retrospective dedicated to the art and design work of groundbreaking modernist, designer, and children's book author Leo Leone. As the old distinction between fine and applied art came up for lively reconsideration after the Second World War, Leo Leone emerged as one of the international design community's indispensable pathfinders and bridge builders. Idealistic and globally minded, Leone viewed pithy, smart, deceptively simple graphic design as a worthy contribution to the post-war effort to reassert democratic values and establish a visual lingua franca to unite people across generations and cultural boundaries. A kind of 20th century Leonardo da Vinci, he pursued this creative vision across several related domains, each of which will be explored in depth in this exhibition, including graphic design and advertising art, his art direction at Fortune and Print magazines, the creation of 40 children's picture books, and personal works including printing, photography, drawing, painting, and sculpture. This exhibit will be going on from November 18th to May of 2024. Visit the website shown here for more information. For our next story, we will be going to Williams College Museum of Art for their new 2024 show called Emancipation, the Unfinished Project of Liberation. Conceived as a commemoration of the 160th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, Emancipation, the Unfinished Project of Liberation, visualizes what freedom looks like for Black Americans today and the legacy of the Civil War in 2024 and beyond. Highlighting the perspectives of contemporary Black artists, Emancipation features commissioned and recent works by 7 artists. The 7 installations span sculpture, photography, and paper and textile fabrications. The artists responded to John Quincy Adams Ward's bronze sculpture, The Freedman, made in 1863, from the Amon Carter Museum of American Art's collection, which is shown here. Initially sculpted by Ward before the end of the Civil War, the figure is depicted on the cusp of liberation, having ruptured his bond, though they are still present as a reminder of enslavement. It is one of the first American depictions of a Black figure cast in bronze. And this specific cast from 1863 is the only copy of its kind with a key that releases a shackle from the figure's wrist. This exhibit is scheduled to open sometime in 2024. Visit the website shown here for more information. For our next story, we are going to be looking into the 2023 box office numbers. In my previous 2 years of WWHEN, I mentioned how the box office was slowly on the rise again after the pandemic. While this trend continued in 2023, there were less hits than in 2022. This is because of the writers and actors strikes. First, let's get the bad news out of the way. During the summer, the strikes affected many different films. Movies such as Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and others were expected to be big hits. However, lack of promotion hurt them in the long run. Not even superhero movies were safe. DC comic book movies had a bad year, with only The Flash even managing to break 100 million, although this episode will be shown before Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Even Marvel's latest film, called The Marvels, struggled with the lack of promotion, as it was released just 1 day before the actors' strike ended. Despite the strike, there were some success stories. Like with the past few years, some of this year's biggest hits were sequels, superhero films, and adaptations. These included films such as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie. My personal favorite movie of the year, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, didn't set the world on fire with its box office numbers, but was a good success nonetheless. Another huge win at the box office was the combined success of Barbie and Oppenheimer, or as it is known as, Barbenheimer. The movies were both released on July 21st. And you would think either film would be negatively impacted. In fact, both movies made more than predicted. To date, Barbie has earned over $636 million, which makes it the highest grossing film of 2023, while Oppenheimer has earned $325 million. Their shared opening weekend was the 4th largest in Hollywood history, and marked the first time that one movie, Barbie in this case, opened over $100 million, while another released the same day, Oppenheimer, opened over $50 million. There were also 2 huge surprises this year. The first, biggest, and most shocking surprise was the independent film Sound of Freedom. This film unexpectedly earned $184 million, placing it in the top 10 highest grossing films this year. However, because of the so-called pay it forward movement, which is people buying tickets for the movie versus people actually seeing the movie, the numbers may be skewed. Another surprise that just missed the top 10 was the Taylor Swift Era Tour movie. It earned $178 million. This was released during the strike, but since Taylor Swift was not in a scripted movie, she could promote her film more than actors could. Speaking of box office, it's now time for this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, this episode's question was, what was the highest grossing year ever for movies, adjusted for inflation, according to BoxOfficeMojo.com? The answer is 2018. 2018 was a terrific year for movies. The top 5 highest grossing movies were, from 5th to 1st, Deadpool 2, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Incredibles 2, Avengers Infinity War, and the original Black Panther. Also doing well that year were Mission Impossible Fallout, Ant-Man and the Wasp, The Grinch, A Star is Born, and Crazy Rich Asians. Throw in the fact that COVID didn't exist, and overall, the total box office for 2018 was an astonishing $11,892,160,011. With all the box office news out of the way, it's time for one last movie review of the year. It was a late release, but it's proven to be a good hit so far. The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is based off the popular Hunger Games series and its prequel book. Over 60 years before Katniss Everdeen volunteers as tribute, the nation of Panem is slowly rebuilding from a devastating war fought by the capital against the 12 districts. In a bid to keep the Hunger Games relevant amid declining public interest, the tributes of the 10th annual Hunger Games are given mentors. One of these mentors is a young man named Coriolanus Snow. He mentors the District 12 contestant, Lucy Gray. Snow would eventually become the president and main villain of the Hunger Games series. But what made him turn into the president that he was? So, what did I think of this movie? I'm a huge fan of all the Hunger Games films and books, so I went in with high expectations. This movie lived up to them for the most part. I really liked the 2 lead characters and their actors, Tom Blythe as Snow and Rachel Zegler as Lucy. Another plus is the usage of Viola Davis, one of the best actresses of our time. She gives an absolutely frightening performance as the head game maker. The film also has tons of references to the Hunger Games franchise, so fans will enjoy pointing out the foreshadowing. The film is divided into 3 unique sections. The only thing I struggled with is the last half hour, the 3rd section. Once the story focusing on the actual Hunger Games ends, the last half hour does drag on a bit to wrap up some loose ends. Still, this was a great movie to end the year of 2023 with. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, it could have been an 8.5, but the sheer length of the movie drops it, very slightly, to an 8. That concludes the 2023 year-end special of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. If you would like to watch this or get any information on entertainment stories not discussed in this episode, you can visit Pittsfield TV's and CTSB TV's websites shown here, or visit NBCTC's Facebook page. Also, if you would like to see the episodes in HD quality, make sure to check out my YouTube page at RT Wehry. thank you, and have a happy and safe holiday and New Year, and see you in 2024.